Hello and welcome, my Kemonogami Leafs. Initially, I didn't plan to do a review on Digimon Survive, but with all those reviews that have false claims about the game out now, I want to add to the positive side. That doesn't mean this review won't be without any negatives. There's negative things in this game as well. No game is perfect, of course. But it's just, I want you to, know what's really happening in this game. Also, no spoilers here. I'm just using footage from my own stream on Twitch, Rief the Leaf. Check out in the description below. That is approximately the first 3 hours. So, let us start with the negatives. Of course, you have to keep in mind, this is a visual novel, first and foremost, and a tactical RPG on the side. That does mean you have a lot of text, and there's nothing wrong with having a lot of text in a game like this. However, that also doesn't mean you cannot criticize the text in some cases, because often it has just a lot of unnecessary text. Like, if you talk to the people, they all say the same thing over and over again. Not like you're talking twice to them, of course they say the same thing, but it's just like, one character says, we should go and save them. And then another character pops in and says, we should go and save them. Get the third character here, we should go and save them. They could have cut a bit of text in these scenes especially, and that runs a bit dry. Not that it destroys the immersion or anything, it's still a great game, but they could have cut a lot of text in these cases. Another problem are the gender issues. Now, yes, Digimon are supposed to be genderless, so they should use like when you're talking about an animal of which you don't know the gender and stuff. However, it is fine that they label them like he or she, depending on how they act, their voice, behaving and stuff. Which they don't really do. They just use the same gender as their human partner, which in most cases fits, but not in all cases. Oh well, that's not the problem I have with it though. The problem is actually them changing the gender on some occasions. I don't think this is done on purpose, it's just an oversight in the game testing, but that's still something you can critique. Like, especially one scene where they refer to certain Digimon as little boys. And those are Digimon that, at least 2 of those Digimon, if you know who I'm talking about, I'm not gonna show that because of spoilers. They look rather feminine and they act more feminine and also have feminine voices. But they call them little boys, so like everyone who doesn't have a partner is a little boy apparently. If they don't have like boobs, then they are girls. It's just strange, and in other cases they just refer to them as little ones, which should be the thing to do here. It's a bit messy. The whole writing can turn a bit messy at places, and I guess an update could refine that. So let's hope for that. But, like I said before, it doesn't distract too much. Those are kind of nitpicky things. The next negative point I have might stem from the Switch version, because I have not played the Steam, PS4 or Xbox version, just the Switch version. And before battle, the loading times feel quite long. I have not measured it, but it's like 10 to 20 seconds sometimes. At least that's how long it feels. And for a console like the Switch, who, of course, isn't the strongest console out there right now, but with what it needs to load, that's quite long. It doesn't need to be that long. A thing I was looking forward to, and this is completely on me, kinda, they didn't show that in the trailers. The website stated 2 things. That the Digivolution of the Digimon depends on the choices you make. However, in Agumon's case specifically, when you look at the characters, it says Agumon's Digivolution depends on the choices you make. So there always was the thing about, is it only Agumon or is it everyone? But most people, me included, thought every Digimon had split evolutions. They don't. The free Digimon only having a set evolution path, that is fine. But when it comes to the partners, I thought all of them had a three-way evolution method for Virus, Data, and Vaccine. Which is not the case. Only Agumon has that, and some Megas differ in some cases. Which is strange. I just wish that every partner Digimon could have different evolutions depending on how well you know the character or what choices you make. However you would have influenced that. But that's not the case. They mostly have a set evolution part set by the story. So, yeah. And then the choices itself. There are two kind of choices you can make. The first ones aren't that bad. These are choices you do for a character to raise their affinity towards you, and those aren't obvious at all. You could get a guess of what a character likes, and in cases like Minoru, for example, it's a bit easier than for other characters, which just makes the characters all the more deep, I would say. But the real problem I have is the choices that affect your karma, being moral, harmony, and wrathfulness. Not only are these choices colored, like when you hover over the option a bit, you can see like some kind of mist coming up that has a color, but also they are always placed at the same point. Moral is always the left choice, the upper choice is always wrathfulness, and harmony is always on the right. I would like to have those more randomized so that you don't really know, at least in the first playthrough, what you're choosing. Like Triangle Strategy does that, with having the choices not really being randomized, but you cannot see what they affect. You can see that in New Game Plus though, so you can aim for a specific ending, and Digimon Survive could have done with that as well. That would be a bit more interesting than just knowing always what you do if you want to get a specific evolution for Agumon or something. Now my last negative point is a bit wonky, you could say. It's about the free Digimon you can use. You see, you have the option in free battles and maybe some other battles as well, but mainly in free battles to actually tame other Digimon than your partners and use them in battle. However, those Digimon cannot evolve, which is fine. It's just you get the evolution item for them quite late, but you cannot only tame rookies, you can also tame adult levels and perfect levels and so on, so that's not much of a hindrance here. But their stats are significantly lower than the ones of your partners, and that makes them really hard to use. Like, in my stream, I'm going for free Digimon only, as mostly as possible, because at story battles you have to use your partners. And that's quite challenging, honestly, and it's like the game doesn't really want you to use them. So they could have just not included them, and, well, that would take away the collecting aspect, but maybe that would have been a better choice in this case. Now, on to the positives, because this game has a lot of them. Actually, my list, which I'm looking at right now here, has listed a bit more negative points than positive points, but let me just say that those positive points weigh a lot more than those negative points. The first one I have is the exciting story. If you want to have a really good Digimon story, or no, even if you aren't into Digimon, just want to enjoy a really good and well-written story, well, the technical writing is a bit wonky at times, but you know, the story itself is great, then this is the place for you. This is a pretty good, slight horror story. I wouldn't really call it a horror story, maybe. It's still aimed at teens, not at adults, so you get what you get with that. But yeah, I can really, really say that this story is just immersive and you just wanna know what happens next. Especially, and no spoilers here, after a certain chapter, where something really big happens, which you might already know what happens there because you read it, but I'm not gonna spoil it here. After that, you know everything is possible. And well, that really keeps you in. Another aspect that in a lot of games isn't really that much of an incentive is the New Game Plus. And it is really worth in this game. It's not only that you can get different endings. No, you can do different choices leading to different outcomes and leading to different people saying different things. Some characters even changing in personality over time due to that. You really get something out of playing this game again. And you have the option of being able to skip all the text that you have already read. So New Game Plus will also be a lot faster and only giving you the new story beats you have not yet seen. Which is something every visual novel should do, and I'm not that much into visual novels. I think they do that, most of them? Maybe? Tell me in the comments. Really, I don't play much visual novels. It's not my cup of tea. Except in this case. Which, of course, also comes from the added tactical RPG elements and stuff. But yeah. New Game Plus, really worth it. Now the characters. You know, for me, the most important thing in a game is not the story, actually. I always say I'm a story guy over gameplay, but honestly, if the story is mediocre, but the characters are great, that's so much more worth for me. Characters and then story. They are close, but that's how it goes for me. And gameplay is after that, and later on graphics, music. Music can add to it, but if the music is bad, the game might still be very enjoyable, because the gameplay, story, and characters are great. Music, important, but not that important in my opinion. I'm not talking about the music right now, but about the characters. Yeah, and those characters, honestly, I like all of them. No, I don't like that one. Granted, I don't count him as a character, I count him as a trash bin. What can I say about the characters? My favorite one is definitely Takuma. I'm just a protagonist liker, you could say. Favorite character in Adventures is Taichi. Okay, my favorite one in Tamers would be Ryo, not Takato. But Takato very close to it. But most of the times I like the protagonist. But if we ignore that, my favorite one would be Minoru. I just love his idiocy, or what you would call that. He really tries to be a hero while being afraid, and that really makes him so reliable. Not reliable, relatable is what I wanted to say. Whoops. And yeah, I think he would be like I would be in that scenario, maybe. Maybe not as afraid of things though, but who knows? Whoever got into a world where strange creatures like an orange dinosaur or a strange big bird starting talking to you while little stone creatures throwing stones at you. Would I really want to go to the digital world? Huh. Now, when it comes to the Digimon that are found in this game, they really use the older ones in such a nice way. They aren't going all the way back only, so only like Tyrannomon or stuff like that. But they use a lot of Digimon from like 10 years ago and earlier that never really had a big appearance in any kind of media. And I really like that. We have over 1,500 Digimon right now. And they still reuse Agumon, but let's not talk about Agumon. Agumon is fine, Agumon is okay, but they could use something else. However, no, they really use really good Digimon. Of course, you're finding your general Digimon like Greymon, Birdramon, Pyromon, stuff like that. But also stuff that you barely see in other medias, like Shellmon, for example. And others which I'm not gonna spoil here. And I really appreciate that. That is such a good idea. use those old Digimon that really need to be more on people's minds. Good going there. And finally, the graphics. Yes, I don't care too much about graphics, but if they are outstanding like in this game, you have to talk about them. The sprite work in battle especially is so great. The Digimon and the tamers that appear look so good in the tactical RPG battle style. That is a style they could easily reuse in the future, and I hope they do. Don't give me realistic looking graphics when it comes to Digimon. Give me this stuff. It looks breathtaking. Also the sprites? What do you call the character pictures in a visual novel? I have no idea. Let's call them sprites because basically that's what they are. They also look very good and have a lot of expressions to them they use throughout the game, which just adds to the immersion of it all. So yeah. The 3D backgrounds in battle though are very repetitive, not looking bad, but they don't add much. They look fine, they accomplish the job they're here for, but what's really good is what happens on top of these graphics. So, yeah, graphics, A+. Well, these are my thoughts on Digimon Survive. I have yet to finish my first playthrough, and I'm also streaming it on Twitch, link down there in the description. What do you think about this game? Did my review change your opinion on it? You're gonna buy it now? Have you bought it already and just watch it to see a different opinion? So, what is it? Tell me in the comments below. I'm eager to read that. I love replying to your comments. And also shoot a pepper breath at the like, subscribe button and that little bell to keep updated whenever I upload a new video. And check out the links in the description below, where I post stuff on Twitter and Instagram, where I also keep you updated on new videos and live streams, and the link to my aforementioned Twitch, where I live stream every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Friday Digimon World and Monday Digimon Survive, by the way, so if you're a huge Digimon fan, those might be for you. I hope to see you over there again, and until next time, bye-bye!